Welcome to Business Review, a daily program that delves into the latest and most significant economic stories. From stock markets to currency news, Business Review covers the most up-to-date developments in the global financial world.
U.S. Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin said the United States wants to conclude a trade deal with the United Kingdom this year. Mnuchin's comments came during a panel at the World Economic Forum in Davos, adding the U.S. also hoped to get a deal done with the European Union. Also speaking during the session, the managing director of the International Monetary Fund, Kristalina Georgieva, reaffirmed that global growth would reach 3.3% in 2020 compared to 2.9% in 2019, which was the slowest pace since the financial crisis a decade ago. Georgieva also advised policymakers to think of less rigorous policies that allowed for anticipation and early action as the world had become more risk-prone.
Shanghai Disneyland closes as authorities try to fight the spread of the Wuhan virus, which has killed many people. China ramped up measures to contain a virus that has infected many people, suspending public transport in 10 cities, shutting temples over the Lunar New Year, and even closing the Forbidden City and part of the Great Wall. The week-long holiday to welcome in the Year of the Rat began, raising fears that the infection rate could accelerate as hundreds of millions of people travel to their homes and abroad. The risks also persuaded Shanghai Disneyland theme park to close until further notice. The theme park has a 1,000 daily capacity and sold out during last year's Lunar New Year holiday. The virus is expected to dent China's growth after months of economic worries over trade tensions with the US, unnerving foreign companies doing business there.
Zhang Yichen, the CEO of China's sci-tech capital, said there's still plenty of room to grow for their businesses in China, given the huge population base and wide application of new technologies in the country, adding that's why they intend to expand shareholding in McDonald's China business. Sci-tech Capital is a flagship investment arm of the Chinese conglomerate Sci-tech Group. The chief executive also told CGTN that technology will spur up business growth. His company teamed up with Chinese tech giant Tencent over 2 years ago using their mini program. Later on, they started to have their own app, and by the end of 2019, a total of about 112 million members had been using their app, which gives them a unique angle in terms of marketing. It means they can offer more targeted marketing to the customer base, which will create amazing results.
The Doomsday Clock was moved the closest it's ever been to midnight as atomic scientists warned of increasing threats around nuclear war and climate change. The Bulletin of Atomic Scientists moved the clock from 2 minutes before midnight to 100 seconds before midnight. For the first time, experts from the Bulletin of the Atomic Scientists were joined in making the Doomsday Clock change by members of the Elders, founded by Nelson Mandela in 2007. The Elders are independent global leaders working together for peace and human rights. Elders chair and former President of Ireland called on US President Donald Trump to work with the Russian President Vladimir Putin to extend the new Strategic Arms Reduction Treaty, which is set to expire in 2021. Deputy Chair Ban Ki-moon, the former US Secretary General, said that US leadership was necessary in the war on climate change. And former California Governor Jerry Brown, who also serves as the executive chair for the Bulletin of the Atomic Scientists, delivered impassioned remarks about complacency. Since the election of US President Donald Trump in 2016, the clock has closed in on midnight in successive 30-second moves in 2017 and 2018, in part because of escalating tensions with North Korea over its nuclear program.
Spain's Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez announced an emergency meeting to deal with the impact of Storm Gloria after flying over areas of eastern Spain where heavy rains, powerful winds, and huge waves have killed at least 11 people. Residents were left grappling with the wreckage of days of battering, including collapsed bridges, damaged railway lines, and entire beaches wiped away by waves. Sanchez, noting the winter storm had hit just as the area readied itself for the tourist season, said his government had called the emergency meeting in a bid to help re-establish normality, guarantee security, and address short and medium-term needs. The storm tightened its grip on parts of the peninsula, unleashing winds of up to 144 kilometers per hour and waves of up to 13.5 meters high that slammed into seafront shops, wiping out beaches and boardwalks. Asked about a separate incident during his visit, Sanchez said emergency services were still looking for a boat carrying 6 people that went missing in the Strait of Gibraltar.
It is a first since 2004. France is the first contributor to the growth of the Eurozone in 2019 ahead of Germany. According to a study made by France Strategy, the investment of French companies has been higher than that of most companies in the European countries for over 10 years. The French invest more in intangible assets. The rate of investments in R&D in France represents around 10.7% of the added value in 2016, while it reached only 8.4% in Germany. France has become the engine of growth in the Eurozone, while that of Germany looks grey. French GDP grew by 1.5% in 2019. Conversely, that of Germany will struggle to reach 0.5%.
In Germany, there is a problem with the growth because now there's a strong transition for the German economy. Is that the automotive sectors has to be reinvented with the electrical cars, and they will probably suffer a lot, some companies, and they suffer a lot because they export a lot in countries like China.
Can the Renault-Nissan alliance survive without Carlos Ghosn? Since Ghosn's arrest, shares in both Nissan and Renault have sunk by 1/3, and sales in the US have fallen by almost 8%. Ghosn's successor, Hiroto Sakawa, axed 5% of Nissan's global workforce last summer, slashing 12,500 jobs.
Nissan needs to sell its cars, and for it relies on its brand. And I think Nissan still has a very nice brand and very nice cars. So I think it's not lost. I think they have still a good future ahead of them. But it's going to be a uphill battle for Nissan because they have spent so much money on the investigation, and they're going to face litigation in the US.
As a result, French Renault announced on Wednesday that it would be the subject of measures by the Sapin II law on financial transparency from the French anti-corruption agency AFA. Renault confirmed that it has been informed by the AFA to conduct irregular checks to verify the existence of measures and procedures aimed at preventing and detecting breaches of integrity. It carried out 6 inspections in 2017 and 47 in 2018, if necessary by going on-site to companies. The French company Renault case takes on particular relief. This approach comes in effect when the escape of Carlos Ghosn from Japan, where he was to be tried for financial embezzlement, which he denied. And in 2014, Renault has single-handedly paid to celebrate Ghosn's wife's birthday at Versailles in France, which brought some attention and speculations about the use of the company's main budget in personal affairs of Ghosn. This is Farah Al Hashim reporting for the Business Review, KTV2, Paris.
been Business Review, your daily source for the most critical stories in the economic world. Tune in next time for the latest financial news impacting the world economy.